Hi guys, Reaper here. Thanks for tuning in. Here to talk to you today about this beast of a ship, the Machariel. In this video, we're going to cover a few things: how to get one, what skills you will need, how to fit the ship, and of course, how you fly the ship. To obtain a T8 faction battleship is going to require one of two things: either spending a fair bit of money to buy the Plex and turn into ISK, or to do what I did and grind like crazy, put together a plan, and be able to slowly stockpile the things you need to be able to build and manufacture the ship, which is exactly what I did. And for that, I purchased a blueprint, trained my skills to 4 and 4 for the battleship manufacture, and then looking at the overview here, once you've got the blueprint, you can see that it costs 600 million ISK to initiate the build, which takes 3 days, 12 hours with those skills. And you can see on the right hand side here all the minerals you need. Now, planetary resources we all can get for free with some really basic skills. So again, you don't necessarily have to spend ISK to obtain these. It may take some time to do so, but if you did want to purchase them, you can go into the market and either buy if they're available. If you're looking to build this somewhere like Jita, or if you're outside of Jita, you can place some buy orders and people will come and drop the minerals off. So two types of things: you need all your PMATs, planetary materials, and then you need all the minerals. Now the minerals are the really expensive part, which you may take quite a bit of time to stockpile, but it gives you a target and a goal in the game, something to work towards, and when you build the ship, as I did, you'll have quite the sense of achievement that you've managed to pull it off. I was running Sweet Poison storyline mission in my Cyclone over and over again, and had a couple of losses along the way, which made it take even longer, and slowly but surely I managed to purchase the materials needed. And every time I needed to check which minerals I needed to purchase, I would just go back to my industry, click on the blueprint, and go back and have a look through the minerals required and try and purchase some more until I had the ship. So overall, it did take me a very long time to grind to get this the free way. Once I'd actually started to build the ship, I realized then that the modules are going to be quite expensive, as were all of those rigs. If we have a look at some of the skills we need, or the skills that I have so far for the ship, scrolling down, you'll see that I have Battleship Command at 4, I've got Advanced Battleship Command at 5, and Expert at 3 so far. So that's my inertia and speed, but also that complementing one of the ship inherent bonuses to tracking speed. My afterburner skills are 5, 5, and 4. And then if we look at my shield operation, it's pretty simple. I've got 5 and 4, which for the bonuses, many people may have similar. Definitely one to improve on. Defense, I've got just 4 and 4. Again, that's worth improving because of the Machariel's huge base hit points. It looks like I can get an extra, let's say, 15% shield on my existing 35,000 shield, which will make quite a nice difference for day-to-day combat. And then looking at the engineering skills, I've got 4 and 4 once again. So engineering and advanced battleship engineering, 4, 4. Electronic skills, if we scroll down, you'll see for the target painters, I've improved my signal disruption. I've got signal disruption at 4 and 3, which again could be improved to increase my target painters' effectiveness, which really does help with those smaller frigates, especially the elites. Without the target painter, they'd be almost impossible to hit. My targeting skills are pretty appalling. I've only got 4 and 3. Previously, I've not had an issue with scan res until I've got a battleship, so that's definitely one to work on and improve, so I'm locking targets that much faster. Looking at my cannon skills, scrolling down here, you'll see I've got my cannon operation at 4. My advanced large cannon operation I'm taking to 5 now, because that's the other ship damage attribute. And then for the upgrade, I've got 4 and 4. So my gunnery skills are pretty elementary at best. So this is a good, I would say, example of what a Mach would look like with some pretty entry level skills. Taken about a month to get the skills to the level they are at the moment, with lots of room to improve. So if we move on now and actually have a look at the ship fitting and some of the attributes. First of all, this ship is about a mile long, so when you undock and you see things like prophecies and other ships flying around, they look tiny, which is quite funny. The Advanced Large Cannon Operation bonus per level gives you a 5% bonus to large cannon damage and its activation time, and the Battleship Command bonus gives you a 7.5% bonus to the tracking speed and to the accuracy fall-off. The ship has an amazing roll bonus of 50% to its warp speed and also 50% to its warp acceleration. It is this bonus that sold this ship to me out of all of the Pirate Faction ships and is probably why it's one of the more popular ships on the server. So, to see here, we have a headline figure of 1,816 DPS. Cold, I have 119,592 effective hit points with 35,000 shield, 34,000 armor, and 28,000 structure. Again, those skills can be improved. Looking at my capacitor, I've got 13 minutes 54 seconds in total. That's not taking into consideration the battery when the battery's put active, so that's actually far more when that battery is running, and you don't need the afterburner on constantly. My signature radius is only 247 meters, which is really good for a battleship, and my scan res is at 216 mm. I do have a rig to complement and bonus that. Navigation, I'm at 180.7 meters per second, which I do have quite good skills for in this particular ship, and that equates to around 510 to 20 meters a second using an afterburner. Battleship moving at 500 meters a second isn't that bad, and also having a sig radius of 247 I think isn't that bad either. From memory, my Autonado from a previous video, which I was using as like a mini Mach, has, let's have a look, let's find the ship attributes, here we go. Oh, no, that's the skills. So if we go back and look in here, noob, so we have, yeah, signature radius of 202.5. Now, I'm pretty sure that on my ship's fitting attributes, that's showing the base stats, but just to double check, if we go into the same on here, yeah, 247. So my battleship is only 47 meters larger than my Tornado, which is pretty good. And to compare that to the Cinnabal, 70 meters. So yeah, it's about 3 times bigger than that. But hey ho, it can still speed tank somewhat if needed, especially against missiles more to the point and those large missiles. So from the top of the fittings, we've got some C-type autocannons. I've gone with these for the trekking and sheer DPS. As you can see, we've got a 5.3 kilometer optimal and then a 33 kilometer fall off, meaning I can hit effectively out to around 50 kilometers at the lower end of the damage spectrum. And then if I'm sitting at 30 odd kilometers, I can hit frigates really well and sometimes one-shot them. So the tracking is also not entirely terrible. Using my mid-slots, I can hit frigates. So in the low slots, I've got the C-type large shield booster, which is boosting a fair amount of shield. Nice to have a large opposed to a medium for a change. And I've got 2 adaptive invulnerability fields for my resistances, maintaining a tank, which gives me a nice flat bonus. I've got, in this case, a gyro fit, but for some harder missions like story missions, I replaced that with a blue reactive hardener. So I've got the 3 hardeners running for the maximum EHP, which I can't swap out for right now because I don't have it in this station, annoyingly. But my effective hit points when I have them active is about 214,000 EHP. Looking then at my capacitor battery, this is giving me a flat bonus of 1,879 gigajoules, which is a massive bonus, and then each minute I'm able to add 3,000 more capacitor, which stays for 25 seconds, meaning if I need to shield boost or get into trouble, I can really top up my capacitor. And of course I've got the large C-type afterburner. So far I really haven't been pushed for cap and seem to be pretty stable. I've gone with 2 of the Mark 7 Ogres just because they apply damage to shield and armor equally as well, whereas the berserkers aren't really applying damage at all to the shields. Predator web, as you just saw, and I've got a scrambler there, a decent meta. Can't get the predator because they're very rare. I've got a Republic fleet, target painter, and I've got the large best meta 8 at Nosferatu, which again is very important for keeping my capacitors stocked up. If we have a look at the rigs, I've got one damage weapon rig here for Tech 3 for 17.5% damage, and two of the activation time cannon rigs, which is the optimal for your DPS in any situation. I've got one targeting Tech 3 rig here, as my scan res is quite low and the ship's scan res is low altogether anyway, and two cap control circuits, both Tech 3. I do recommend that for those rigs you buy the blueprints and then build them. The materials are very low, but you're going to save yourself 30, 40 million, maybe 50 million easily if you're prepared to wait the 12 hours for them to build. Just undocked from station here to have a look at a couple more things. So firstly, if we enable both of the shield hardeners and we go back into our ship fitting and attribute section, you can see that my effective hit points has jumped up to 170,000. Again, with that reactive in place of the gyro and with the hardener spooled up from taking the NPC damage, I'd have over 210, I think 214,000 was what I checked previously. And of course, if we activate that gyro, we can see a whopping 2,300 DPS, which is quite staggering really, and make killing bigger ships a lot faster. Okay, so lastly, we're going to go and do a quick mission here. I've picked a 4.5 million-isk reward mission on the hard difficulty settings. One thing I'd mention as well, first of all, is if you're travelling around low-sec, you might want to dock your ship in a station on the last high-sec part of the route, and then take your pod, if it's 2 or 3 jumps more, just to scout ahead and make sure there's no gate camps. There was a gate camp bug recently, which people were punished for, and they exploited using cloaking and various other tricks. People have been gate camping using trainer ships. They do need 50, 60 ships, and they all, well, many of them get destroyed, but if you're AFKing through low sec and you get caught by one of those, you are most certainly going to lose your ship. If you're not AFK, you're probably going to lose your ship anyway, even if you've got your hardeners on. So it's definitely a good idea to dock your ship in high sec and pod scout the remaining few jumps, and then go back to your battleship and safely go through, especially if you spent all this time trying to save to produce the ship the fair and square way, you know, not cheating and paying for it. And I know there's a lot of players that would have worked very hard to get them and don't really deserve to lose them that way necessarily. I'm not fully against the tactic. I think it's part of EVE and what EVE is about, so just be careful. As you can see here, first wave, I'm just sat here stationary at the moment and shooting the ships, taking them out pretty quickly. I tend to burn towards the bigger ships and then lay on the full amount of my DPS. I set my approach to 5 kilometers or 4 kilometers. That way I'm not getting too close that I overshoot the ship and lose my tracking, and just sit directly in front of them. This kind of mission is so easy that I really could probably complete the whole thing without even activating my shield booster, but I'm going to run it just to show you anyway. And I have been running Sweet Poison solo and Bad Hair Day with some friends. Bad Hair Day we've been blitzing super fast, but running Sweet Poison solo in this Machariel, I've got it down to around 1 hour 35 minutes to 40 minutes, which solo is seriously good going. And again, for that type of mission, I'm brawling and getting up close, but before the final waves, the final couple of waves on both parts, I am making sure I've burnt away to a safe distance so that I've not got every single ship on top of me. The final wave of Sweet Poison, if you had literally every ship on top of you and you weren't smart with the tacklers, There is a chance that you could go down, which you would never want to happen again. So I'm attacking this battleship here, this Caldari battleship. He has actually got quite a good tank, so he's taken a while to go down. Generally speaking, most of the other T9 battleship NPCs I'm taking out really, really fast. The tracking works really well, as well against cruisers, and for the frigates and destroyers I do need to use my tackle if they get close. But you can see here I'm applying pretty huge hits to this cruiser. Over 6,000 damage, 3 shots and they're down. You can fit strike cannons onto the Machariel as well, and have a nice range of, I would say, 120-30 kilometers, still hitting effectively. However, that's not my play style. I much prefer to get up close. It's more risky, but you are able to take the missions down far, far quicker. And yeah, we can see here that nothing here is really posing too much of an issue. One other thing I'd mention is that when you're faced on a storyline mission with an elite frigate, you need to make sure you've got your large, medium, and even small drones in your cargo ready to swap out. With the randomization now for NPC since the big patch quite a while ago, they can spawn kind of randomly, and I got quite unlucky. There was an elite Atron which was using an afterburner, not a micro warp drive. I've not seen that before. That means that it was orbiting me at 2 kilometers a second whilst I had it webbed and scrammed, and I only had large drones. Couldn't track it, and I had to call in a rescue party to save me there, which was quite funny. But the normal elite frigs that orbit with the micro warp drive, when you shut that down, you'll find that they are still orbiting you a bit too quick to hit. So you just need to point the camera in the direction in which the frigate is heading in, if you like, and then double tap space, fly parallel to him in the same direction. His angular velocity for a short amount of time will become 0, and you'll get the hit off. So I just had a disconnect, which randomly happens since the last patch. I don't know why, but if you just stop your ship like so and then retarget, you can carry on. It's like a couple of second disconnect, and in those couple of seconds the ship then tries to warp out to safety. You would then fly 10,000 kilometers from the mission, enabling you to get back in, but I seem to reconnect straight away. I don't think it's down to my internet, but hey ho, these things happen in games. So generally speaking, I think we've seen more or less enough of this mission. I'm absolutely blitzing these ships with no risk to myself. You will find when you fly a pirate or faction battleship that things do become a lot easier, and you can play with different play styles. If you want to be a sniper, you can. If you want to get up close and brawl, you can. But if you're brawling, you just need to still respect the storyline mission. Some of them can be hard, and because you're in a big battleship doesn't mean you're invincible. Always safe to warp off before a big wave, and then or burn away before you take out the last ship on that wave. And then when the frigs spawn on the field, they'll be far enough away for you to apply good damage as they're burning towards you, and then you will separate out that wave, and you can just start flying into them and taking them out as you go. But I so far haven't found myself in a very risky situation in a storyline mission using that. The verdict is I love this ship. It's amazing. I think that the average player can get into a ship like this, but they will have to grind a lot and invest a lot. But in a game, for me, the point of a game is to have a target and an objective to work towards. If you have those things, it can be enjoyable, and yeah, you can get here eventually. And when you do, there'll be a decent sense of achievement. But what you need to do is when you get the ship, you need to be very careful not to lose it. So that's it, guys, and I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.